So here are my quickfire tips for working with original documents and records on Ancestry.com. Now you can see I've got the 1881 England census open here, and I'm looking at my 3 times great grandmother Agnes Blackmore Barnes here. And the first thing I say, sometimes it's a little bit hard to read these. This one's okay, but others are really poor quality. So if you come over to the side and press the spanner or wrench icon, depending where you are in the world, you can invert the colors. Now you get like a negative view. And for some people, and you might be able to tell from my browser, I really like having this dark theme, but it also makes some records much easier to read. So remember, you can invert them by pressing that icon, and you can toggle it back when you want. Next tip is to make use of the transcriptions, and you can do that by pressing the person icon, and it actually says it's called the index panel, and I can pull that up. And what you can see, if you struggle to read these, you can see them down here and there. You can click on them and you can actually read. So if I line that up, I can see exactly what is written, and you've got it in much clearer style. So that helps to read these records much more quickly, especially if you're struggling and you are not used to it. And you can see things like the W abbreviation is explained here as a widow. So if you're new to this, it's not that difficult. I got a little bit confused by this as well, but retired grocer's wife, you can see it there very clearly. But just note that these transcriptions aren't perfect. Even Agnes is transcribed as Barris in the 1911 one, so just be careful, but it can really help to add that extra level of detail. Another tip for you is then if we press this film icon, and it's actually film strip is what they call it, and you'll see it at the bottom where you can toggle through the pages. This might be useful if you are looking around the person to see any neighbors, and you can then just jump the page. But you can equally just type in the number here and jump to a page. So it's often quite good to jump to number 1 of a set, and then you see, and maybe I'll cross out of that, you see a description of the area that is covered in this census, and you can just jump back and forth. Just remember to take a note of the page number before you do, as I often forget and get a bit lost. You can also toggle by clicking these arrows here, but I find that just a little bit slower. As you can see, nothing happened when I pressed it there, and nothing's happening there. But if we do the page number and hit enter, it seems to be much faster. Now the next tip is to make use of the share options. So if I come up and press the arrow, I can share it straight to social media, but you can also share it directly in a message. Now this is useful because it saves you sending a link and being sure they've read the same one. And you can just do that and start typing the username of the person you're going to share it with. So that's really helpful, makes things much quicker. Another thing I can't recommend strongly enough is to save these original records as you go, because if you lose access to Ancestry, you can't pay for whatever reason, or you just decide to take a break, you lose access to the original records. So if you come up into the top right and press save to your computer and then download the file, you know you've got that file for good. So you don't need to come back in. And now for my next tips on Ancestry, watch this video here and I will see you there.